The Bartender at Large podcast is a show specifically made for the bartending community. We don't really dumb anything down because since we're only speaking to professionals, it allows us to communicate in a way that we talk to each other. I do like to tell bartenders coming up, diversify yourself if you can, because that is what's going to help you put food on the table for yourself and for your family down the road, no matter what happens. If you own a bar, do some cool consulting on the side. If you do education, do bar trainings as well. Do as much as you can. That way, in the good times, you have extra money to save or to invest, and in the bad times, you have a little cushion, hopefully. So now here's a few tips that I would offer in regards to getting your side hustle, your side gig off the ground. The first one is, don't give up if you don't get traction right away. When we first started the Bartender at Large podcast, people in the beverage industry didn't even know what the hell a podcast was. At this point, I think they were, I don't know how old they were, but I was talking to, the heads of marketing from some of these big liquor companies, and they were just going like, hey, so what is a podcast? Basically what I'm telling you is, if people don't understand it at first, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, especially if you're kind of coming a bit ahead of the curve on this. Don't be afraid to let the project evolve and take on a life of its own. By that I mean, what you envision the project being at the very beginning might not be what it becomes down the road, and that's totally fine. Almost a year in, there was an episode specifically where we talked about career burnout. And the guests that I had on that day were like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like talking about Negronis and whiskey sours. I want to talk about like what's on my mind right now. What I feel like talking about is it's like darker stuff. Is that okay if I bring it up? And I said, yeah, 100%. I'm actually kind of burnt out myself. So let's address some of these taboo topics. And that episode specifically was one of the first episodes where we were just inundated with DMs and emails and messages from our listeners going like, oh my God, thank you so much. I needed that episode. I thought it was the only one and I felt guilty. And from there, I feel like that's when the episodes got really good. Don't look to the community in regards to what they can do for you, but rather about what you can do for the community. By that I mean, a lot of people come into this side hustle, these side gigs with the mentality of like, ooh, how can I get everybody's money? How can I get people to start tuning into me and tell me how great I am? Sure, that's fine if that's what you're into, but you're gonna find that you hit a brick wall really quick because people aren't interested in feeding your ego and telling you how great you are. You need to provide them with something. You need to provide them with entertainment, information, a great way to pass the time, killer recipes, anything. But whatever it is, you need to figure out a way to help them because once you help them, that's when they'll start supporting you. Just yesterday, I got a letter from a listener who said, I listened to your episode about to-go cocktails, and I credit what I learned from that episode with why my bar is gonna survive the Corona crisis. And that blew my mind because that wasn't necessarily a compliment for me, but it was rather a compliment. I took it as for the guests that came on the show that day. Because they weren't guarded and stingy with what they knew, the show provided them a forum to help others. If somebody were to ask me what kind of advice I would offer if they wanted to start working more closely with brands and sponsorship and things of that nature, the first thing I would tell you is be professional. Have a professional email. Have a professional way of getting back to people. Be prompt in your responses. Because so often in the bar industry, as long as you show up a couple minutes before your shift, you're fine, you're good to go. But when it comes to interacting with people in a business context, you can't wait 3 days to get back to somebody, especially if they're paying you money. If they're paying you money, you need to be prompt in your response to get back to them. They are your client. The main reason why I think that the Bartender at Large podcast has done so well is that we haven't really strayed from our core mission statement, and that's being a show by bartenders for bartenders. There were points in that first year when actually we had, liquor companies reach out to us and be like, oh, we want to work with you, we want to sponsor something with you, and we told them no. And that was because I didn't want creative input from the outside until I knew what the show was supposed to be fully fleshed out. And I feel like by the end of the year is when we really had that locked down. And honestly, you know, there was no income for those first couple of years. It was something that I just loved doing as a hobby, and I thought that it was something that was worth doing. It's essentially and effectively gone from being a hobby to something that is a legitimate, you know, form of income. And honestly, in a year like this, you know, when the hospitality industry and owning bars is awash, it has been a lifesaver in a lot of respects.